Hey everybody, I thought I would spend a little time talking about the recent story about the slap that was seen around the world this past Sunday at the Academy Awards, and I thought it would be interesting to weigh in on this event as a family law attorney, a former prosecutor, a former cop, somebody that has maybe a different perspective. I've since this event heard a lot of commentary, people talking about what they think of the event and using their expertise, and some people are coming up with theories. Without a doubt, I think we could agree that there's something wrong with Will Smith on the night of the Academy Awards. There's something that's going way back or surfacing that has nothing to do with the joke that was said, because to be violent and get up on the stage and do that in front of so many people and risk your career, your good name, your brand. I mean, people love this actor. He's a great actor. For him to get up there and just do that, there was something that was bothering him in one way or the other. He was influenced. I don't know what it was. I'm not going to opine. I don't want to go that far. But in my line of work as a family law attorney, I do a little bit of criminal defense, and I'm a former cop and prosecutor. I have kind of a different perspective that I thought I would share with you. What if Chris Rock wanted to get a restraining order against Will Smith? Can he do that based upon what we saw? Well, the answer is yes, but it wouldn't be a family law restraining order. What it would be is a civil harassment restraining order. And the reason why is that Will Smith and Chris Rock don't have the necessary relationship in California to qualify for a domestic violence restraining order. It's got to be a very close relationship, and the Family Code defines that. So they don't have that, but what he could do is still go into civil court and get a civil harassment restraining order. And all he would have to show is that he was battered, because that's one of the things that will always get you a civil harassment restraining order, so long as you could show it by clear and convincing evidence. It's got to be very substantial. It's not preponderance. You've got to show to the court that with a high standard. Otherwise, you lose, and you could be paying for the other person's attorney's fees for defending it. But think about it. That wouldn't be a problem here, okay? Because I could think about millions, if not billions, of people that could come into court and testify that they saw this happening as it happened, and they could identify Will Smith as being the suspect, and they could testify they saw the slap. Of course, there could be some defenses, I guess, that this was just a joke. I never really touched them. Chris Rock himself is a great actor, and he went back, he was never really touched, and blah, blah, blah. Hypothetically speaking, if Rock wanted a restraining order, he could get a civil harassment restraining order. Now, another thing that could happen is the Academy Award could possibly get a restraining order against Will Smith because of what he did. I mean, he came into a workplace, and employers these days and people that own businesses are kind of in a different standard than they were a few years ago. You could see that the modifications to the code and the case decisions really put some responsibility on the part of employers to protect people within the workforce, right? And if you get somebody walking into your business or being there and is refusing to leave after being told, and that's apparently what had happened, is that the Academy said, hey, you're coming with us, you're not wanted here tonight. And Smith, being the powerful man that he is, sat back and he watched the show, went up and got his award, and nobody forced him out. And that's fine. They didn't put his hands on him, but they could get a restraining order against him for future events so that he doesn't come around there. Okay, how long do those restraining orders last? It depends on the judge, but certainly it could be a restraining order for the next 5 years. So people are now talking about what happened, and the people that are in power are saying that they're at least going to investigate this. But there's one voice that I haven't heard yet, and maybe it's out there, but I haven't heard it. And where were the police? Where's the prosecutor in Los Angeles County on this case, right? You would think that this is a classic case where you want to prosecute a crime that occurred in front of the world, where we're condemning violence around the world. The prosecution does not, in California, have to have the victim's acquiescence to the prosecution. They could prosecute even if Chris Rock says, look, I don't want to press charges, because that's not how it works in California. It's the people of California versus the suspect. And we see this all the time in domestic violence cases where you have a recanting victim they decide that they don't want to prosecute for whatever reason, and the DA says, sorry, we're going forward anyways. So in this case, why didn't we hear from them? At least say they're investigating it. Okay, but I haven't heard anything yet. And that kind of bothers me, because I could tell you that as a family law attorney that does a little bit of criminal defense, I protect people who are victims of domestic violence. And of course, sometimes I defend people that are accused of domestic violence. And I could tell you that if this was just regular people in a regular forum, let's say that it was the local theater, in your community here in California or elsewhere, and you saw something like this happen and you call the police, the cops would get there really fast. They would talk to just a couple of people, and the person that did the slapping would be in handcuffs and hauled away. That's just how it works. Okay, and then what does it look like at the next stage? As an attorney defending somebody like this, if I walked into the courtroom and I started speaking to the deputy DA handling this matter, I'd have to have a really hard go at it trying to get them to dismiss the case. Now, of course, eventually they might put a perpetrator of battery, because this is a simple battery. It doesn't look like Chris Rock was hurt. It's not assault with a deadly weapon. It was with his hands. But if there was prosecution to dismiss this, there would have to been a lot of begging, and then they would probably put the guy or gal on what we called diversion, where they would let him or her enter a plea and then come back a year later and have that plea withdrawn, so long as they went to some anger management classes, did some community service, paid restitution, so on and so forth. I just have a feeling you're not even going to get near that with this case, which strikes me as wrong, because part of what law enforcement and the courts are supposed to do is think about how our decisions impacts other people. We charge people with crimes in order also to defer other people who are thinking about doing the same thing. And if you get a guy like Will Smith, good looking, charismatic, great actor, somebody who has a lot of following, we love watching him. If he could get up there and do that, why can't the younger people who are watching that think that they're going to do the same thing? So that's my preaching for today. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any comments about this, please enter them below, and maybe we'll bring this up again and have some more discussion. Thank you.